Hello Pisces and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Pisces, we're going to jump on in. We're going to start with looking at your recent past, current energy, and immediate future through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the reading with tarot as we progress. So let's first start with this recent past energy. Let's look at what you guys have been dealing with. Recent past energy for Pisces. Conclusions are within reach. The end of a tough cycle approaches, and bring love into the situation. And then you have adjustments are required here on the bottom of the deck. Okay, this is definitely this energy of, it's obviously the ending of something, but the words that keep coming to mind are like burning something down. I feel like this is this energy of spending a lot of time building something, trying to, make something work, trying to make something happen, and hitting a pretty aggressive dead end in this situation. Now, with the end of a tough cycle, I feel like this situation was something that did bring you a lot of struggle. It brought you a lot of stress, anxiety, potentially heartbreak. And I feel like, you were in whatever this is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a career path, I don't know, friendship, whatever. You were in this out of the hopes that, things would eventually get to a certain place, that you were eventually going to, find happiness, success in it. And I feel like I said, hitting some sort of a dead end kind of caused you to get to this place of, really burning something down. And I think that, it's really hard when we invest so much of our time, our energy, our money, our resources into certain situations that end up not working out. I think it's really easy for us to go, oh, I wasted my time in this, or that was the wrong path for me. But here's something interesting that I'm really gathering from this specific situation is that whatever this was very much the right path for you at the time. Maybe you have outgrown it. Maybe you have learned what you meant to from it. And now you're ready to build or grow into something or step into something that is better for you, that is more aligned, that provides you with more, whether it's more stability, more love, maybe it's just kind of across the board feeling like something is aligning more with what you deserve. But that doesn't mean that it's not difficult, it doesn't mean that this isn't something that is there's probably grief involved. There's probably fear of what's next. And that's kind of what I feel from this energy too, is it does feel like you're feeling a little bit directionless, not really sure where to go from here. Don't let your past hold you back here in your current energy. I feel like there's like this feeling of maybe failure, this feeling of, maybe, like the best is behind me, or I missed my shot or something here. That's not the case. You have prosperity lies ahead with belief in the impossible. One of the most beautiful things about being a human is that we don't have to let what we've been through define us. We have this ability to determine in each and every moment who we want to be and the life that we want to live despite the things that we've been through. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not challenging to break out of certain, belief systems or, just almost like, when we've experienced so much heartbreak or we keep hitting dead ends, it's really hard for us to believe, right, that there's anything better for us ahead. But Spirit is actually very much saying, especially the underlying is, look at the bigger picture. You might not be seeing this situation clearly. Like, this isn't you haven't missed your chance. You haven't ruined what's meant for you. What is meant for you will never, ever pass you. And I actually very much feel as if this is the beginning. Like, to you, I feel like it feels like an ending. But to the energy, it feels like a beginning, like the start of something really beautiful, the start of something really abundant. And it might be really scary because there's so much unknown. But I think that on the other side of this is going to be a lot more good than you're expecting. What does Pisces need to know moving forward? It's like the best is yet to come almost. You're very close to achieving your goal. It's time to release negativity and don't let pride get in your way. You're closer to the things that you desire than you think, even if you feel like you've had to take steps backwards. Like, you're closer to the love that you desire, even if a relationship has ended. You're closer to the success that you desire, even if you've reached some sort of like obstacle or setback in a career. Like, just because sometimes it feels like life moves backwards, that doesn't mean that you're getting further away from the things that you desire. In fact, I actually feel like this is you getting closer to them. If you think of it this way, like, if you are meant to walk, if this is the path to the things that you deserve and desire, but you're going down this path, when you officially, close out a cycle, abandon a path, close a door or whatever, you are now closer to the thing that you desire than you ever have been before, because you're realigning with the right, the steps that are needing to be taken to get there. Now, this is where it's important to understand that you wouldn't have been able to find your way onto this path that you're headed if you hadn't have reached some sort of a dead end here. So this isn't like, oh, you made a wrong move and now you're correcting. This is everything has worked out like it needed to, even if doors have closed, even if you found endings or dead ends in situations, it's only opened up the door for new beginnings. And the word that keeps coming to mind the most is rebuilding. And I think that kind of goes with like burning something down and then like rebuilding it back up. It very much is that energy of like, the phoenix rising from the ashes. You have the burning, you have this moment where you feel like, you're doomed, your life is over or things are never going to be good again. And then, come to find out, you end up blossoming in a way that you never really have before. So with this, it's time to release negativity. It's almost like in removing certain things from your life, you're actually opening up the door to more. But with don't let pride get in your way, there is kind of this warning of making sure that, you're staying grounded and not allowing, fear, ego, pride to get in the way of where you're headed. Because I think it's easy for anybody to do. We're all human beings doing our best, and sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay. But the more aware we can be, the more we can flow into the things, into alignment with the things that are meant for us. Okay, overall theme of this here for you, Pisces. I like this. Earth with affluence. This affluence card to me, yes, obviously that means wealth, but we can be wealthy in a lot of different areas, right? We can be wealthy, obviously, yes, in finances, but we can be wealthy in love. We can be wealthy in peace, And I think that what's interesting here is you're headed toward more abundance, more wealth, more affluence in your relationships and your career. It feels kind of across the board. This is like big. I feel like I'm speaking to a collective that maybe like really like burned a life down. It's almost like you packed a bag and you were like, gotta go. And now you're in the process of rebuilding, maybe even kind of from scratch. Maybe it's rebuilding yourself from scratch. Maybe it's rebuilding a life. I'm not quite sure, but whatever this is, like, you have a lot to look forward to. and a lot to look forward to in a material way too. You know, I think that abundance can come in a lot of different forms, but with this Earth card here, you know, to me, the Earth sign, it's all about pentacles, right? It's this material abundance that I feel like, especially if you've lost like money or stability in some way, like don't fret, because I think that you're actually opening up to more here. It might come with time, and it might take, it might be a step, one foot in front of the other kind of process, but you're going to get there. You're going to rebuild, and you're going to rebuild in a way. It's almost like rebuilding in a way that like renovating almost, or it's like, burning down something or, deconstructing something, but you're building it back in a way that is more sustainable, more like open to opportunities. I don't know. Aligned is the word that really comes to mind. All right, let's dive into this more, Pisces. Let's look at this past energy here. Let's see what you guys have been dealing with in detail. And here's the thing, like this whole like burning something down, it might not have been your choice. I feel like it kind of depends on your collective, but I feel like for some of you, maybe it was your choice, and for others of you, maybe you felt very backed into a corner, like you really wanted something to work here. You really wanted to find, success, love, peace in a certain path, but it just felt like you couldn't, no matter how hard you tried. And I think there was some divine intervention, some divine redirection here. You know what this feels like actually is divine protection. 5 of Swords, the Devil card. Devil and Capricorn with Earth here. It's very Capricorn-y energy. I don't know. And maybe you have Capricorn in your chart. Three of Swords, yeah. And I said it. I said I felt like there was a lot of heartbreak in this energy. And here's the thing, like, especially with the 5 of Swords and the Devil, I feel like there was this very determined energy, even though you knew deep down that, I don't know if it's like things were unfair or imbalanced, or I feel like there was a lot of willingness here. A lot of willingness to do what you could to find, like I said, success, love, abundance, peace in a certain situation, and maybe even to provide that for other people. So I think that, this energy is very understandable. The Devil does, however, mean that there was some sort of attachment to a specific outcome that maybe kept you very focused on an outcome instead of how you were feeling in the moment, which can really sometimes get us lost when we're so focused on, trying to make something happen that we abandon like our needs, our desires, our feelings, our emotional experience in the moment, because it's like, well, it doesn't matter how I feel now. If I can get here, then I'll be happy. So investing in something for the potential of the future instead of for the present moment, I think that kind of got you a little bit lost, a little bit confused here, and we all do it. But remember, nothing is as important as your mental health, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being. Like, all of these things are to be prioritized, not just because obviously that's best for you, but also because you deserve to be in spaces that add to your abundance, not take away from it. And I think that in these spaces in particular, there was this energy of it's an energy, like with the 5 of Swords, an energy of always being on guard. So maybe your nervous system kind of just always being really stressed out, really overwhelmed. Like I said, there's a lot of struggle in this. And I think that, like anybody in your shoes, there was this point that you got to where, this was just no longer something that was sustainable for you mentally, emotionally, physically. But I also feel that where you're headed from here, I think that there's something to be said for, I think some of the strongest people that I know go through some of the most like challenging situations in their life. And I'm not saying like, if you don't go through challenging situations, you're not strong. But I do think that, some of the strongest people I know do go through some of the most challenging situations because they can handle so much. And sometimes it's like, oh, because I know like what my capacity is to handle it, I know that I can. But just because you can handle something, or just because something, is a certain way, it doesn't mean that you have an obligation to, right? Just because you can handle struggle, just because you can handle, certain things, doesn't mean that you are meant to, or that you're supposed to. And I feel like that's like shifting the reality that you're allowing yourself to experience here, because you do deserve to experience abundance. And I think a word that is coming to mind is ease. You deserve to experience ease and abundance, ease and love, safety too. I think safety is a big word too. Safety, security, stability. Maybe that's a lot of what this earth card is talking about, is the stability that you deserve in your life. And I feel this feels very unstable. It feels very up and down, left and right, very unstable. All right, current energy here for you, Pisces. You don't need to have all of the answers right now. I think that's really important for somebody, because I think that I'm talking to somebody who's really trying to find their way here. Trying in that rebuilding period, trying to figure out what's next. Yeah, Temperance in reverse. There's a lot of frustration here. I just want to get there. I want to be there. I deserve better. I want to be in better, and I get that. I do. But the being, the phoenix that rises from the ashes is about understanding that, like I said, that is a process and that does take time. But when you allow yourself to believe that, and this is something that I constantly try to tell myself. I think especially as, as a woman in society, I think often society likes to tell us, I just turned 30, okay? And I think that a lot of people like to be like, oh, you're 30 now, the best years are behind you, your 20s are your best years or whatever. And so I keep reminding myself the best is yet to come, the best is yet to come. And I think that for a lot of us, we tend to believe that the best is behind us. And when we allow ourselves to believe that our life has peaked at a certain age, no matter how old you are, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 even, if you allow yourself to believe that the best is behind you, then what's the point of showing up every day, right? When you can keep reminding yourself that the best is yet to come and that you get to keep building a beautiful life for yourself, it gives you this motivation to say, there are still wonderful things ahead of me. It doesn't mean we ignore the grief or that we ignore, how things have unfolded. It just means that we let ourselves believe that good things are still in store for us. And this is exactly what this reading is saying. Good things are still in store for you here. You have the Ace of Cups, the Temperance in reverse. And that's the thing here. It's almost like there's this fear of believing that things can get good. I think that you were hurt a lot in this past energy, that it's hard to open up because it's like, well, I don't want to feel like that again. I don't want to hurt like that again. But remember what I said, and you have the Six of Wands. Remember what I said about you learned what you needed to from a certain situation. You outgrew it, that this doesn't align with you anymore because it's not meant for you. So it's allowing yourself to be open to the possibility of, okay, that was in my life for a reason, but now, as I've grown, as I've expanded, I'm ready for more. I'm ready for more love. I'm ready for healthier experiences. I'm ready for more, aligned, flowy abundance. And when we get into that energy, we literally attract it. So I think that I'm dealing with a Pisces that's struggling with maybe believing that the best is behind them, but that could not be further from the truth. I get wanting to be there right now. I get that. But the more that you rush the process, the more you're missing the point. This is a journey. The journey it's about the journey, not the destination, right? We hear that a lot. When we embrace the journey and we trust that the journey is taking us to the destination that we desire, we allow ourselves to come back to the present. If we're in a rush to get to a certain place, that's where we start to get out of alignment because we start trying to force, right? If it's like, oh, I want to be in a relationship or I want to get to this point, you might find yourself in old cycles because you're just trying to make anything work. When we allow ourselves to trust that the best is ahead of us, then we're not willing to settle. We're not in a rush. We allow ourselves to let things happen as they're going to happen, and that allows us to make more conscious, intentional decisions on the path there. So Spirit's trying to, and I know you're in a rush, but Spirit's trying to tell you to slow down a little bit and to be in this period of your life, and to trust that this period of your life is part of the transformation that is taking place in your life. You are rebuilding. Things are going to be good again, even better than they were before. But this period of transformation is a key part of this process. So what does Pisces need to know moving forward? Your past does not define you. What you've experienced to this point does not determine where you're headed. It might have a role in your growth and your healing, but it doesn't determine who you are or what's possible for you. Look at that. 10 of Pentacles. There's a lot of abundance in this future energy. And that abundance, again, is meant to come to you in a lot of different ways. There. And look, if that's not confirmation enough, there's the Queen of Cups. My dogs are working. Which, you know, being a, hang on a second. Being a water sign, you know, that is you. That's your energy, whether you're male or female. Now, I think that it is really important to keep an eye on not... Sometimes when we're trying to rebuild our life, we get so caught up in specific, like I said, specific outcomes, right? I want things to look like this and I want things to look like this by this time. Right now is a time to really let go of timelines. It's a time to let go of, and this is a tough one, expectations around what, you know, what's going to happen, when it's going to get here. Because you're in this rebuilding process means that you have this clean slate, right? You have this ability to finally get in tune with what you desire. I think that you've gotten pretty clear on what you don't want. So now it's time to get clear on what you do desire and where you do want to go from here. And I think that the beauty of that is allowing yourself to get closer to your desires, to understanding what it is that you need and what it is that you know, you want, taking into account your needs, which maybe is something that you've never really done before. Let's get one more here for you, Pisces. Yeah, the Five of Wands is this, it's this resistance that you've been facing. It's almost like, this is big. This is going to sound, you know, really big, but it's almost like you've been in this place where it feels like the good stuff has always been out of reach, where it feels like you're watching people around you going, they get love, you know, they get abundance. It kind of feels like it's your time. Like it's your time to experience the things that you've, you know, watched everybody else get to experience. But the thing is, Pisces, it's because of the work that you've done. It's because you've broken yourself out of cycles. It's because you've, you know, taken steps in different directions. And I think that the beauty of this is, you know, you haven't, you know, I think that you've been through things that would break a lot of people and you haven't allowed that to break you. You've allowed that to, you know, to amplify, to move you forward in a direction that you never would have been able to go. You wouldn't be able to have this if you hadn't have gone through this. And I think that, you know, in my experience, some of the most difficult periods of my life, some of the darkest periods, some of those experiences where I just literally never thought I was going to make it out. Those ended up being the best things for me. It's not like I'm overwhelmingly grateful for them or I'm, you know, romanticizing them or I want to go back and experience them. But I do know that I am the person that I am today. I have the strength that I have, the knowledge that I have, the wisdom that I have. I'm able to connect to love in a way that I never have before because of those experiences. That's where we let the light in. That's where we step into our truest self. That's where we allow abundance to be our natural state. And it doesn't mean, again, that we need to glorify the difficult times, because honestly, sometimes things just suck, but we can allow us to find purpose in the experiences that we've been through and to let them catapult us into more beauty, abundance, you know, freedom, peace, love, whatever resonates with you. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive deeper into these messages, looking at ultimately answering the question, what do you need to do right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? So looking more at that tangible advice. Any information for that is in the description box below, and I've got an advice card I'll pull at the end of that as well. But thank you so much, as always, Pisces, for your support of me as a reader. I obviously hope that this helped and resonated with you, and I'm wishing you nothing but love, abundance, and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Pisces.